to the rally tonight, not knowing much about what was going on. I do know that I'm opposed to the F-35, and I saw this card. I don't know if you've seen it. The word Vermont is right there. You all know it's October, right there. And the tourists come to Vermont. This is peak season. This is peak season in my restaurant. If those tourists stop coming to Vermont, our whole economy is gone. We really need those tourists. Tourism is what kept our restaurant going. Without that, we wouldn't have survived. I just think that this image of fighter planes is not what Vermont is about. There's nothing beautiful about a fighter plane. Vermont tourism is based on the beauty of the state, the stunning natural beauty. There's nothing natural about a bomber. A bomber is not very Vermont. And I just thought, welcome to Vermont, home of the new fighter bomber. That's not what we're about. So I just felt I had to come and say that.
I think that the Burlington City Council has an enormous opportunity and a big responsibility to stand up for justice, equality, and peace. And the reality is the F-35 is a threat to all those cherished values in our city, our state, our country, and our world. Deploying this fighter bomber in our area will rob people of their homes. Deploying it will disproportionately affect working class people and people of color. Deploying it will deepen the parasitic hold of the military-industrial complex, the brutal war economy on our world. And we've had enough of that over the last decade of occupations of Iraq, Afghanistan, at the cost of tremendous numbers of lives, both in the occupied countries and among our veterans and soldiers. The F-35 really symbolizes everything that's wrong with our society. Now, lots of supporters are trying to say that to oppose the F-35 is to be unpatriotic. I think that's really wrong. It's not about patriotism, it's about priorities. And the priorities of putting the F-35 in Burlington are the wrong priorities for Burlington, for our state, and for our country. It's a $1.5 trillion boondoggle. Even the designer of the F-16 thinks it's a waste of money. Imagine all that money spent on things we need: healthcare, climate change, green jobs, social programs that are right now on the chopping block in the Burlingtons. Imagine that we could bail out all the student debt right now if we diverted the money that's being spent on the F-35 for bailing out students. So I think all of you should feel what Martin Luther King called the fierce urgency of now in the next 30 days, where you can stand up and do the right thing when so many other of our representatives have not done it. You have an opportunity, and I encourage you to stand with the courage of your convictions and not be intimidated by patriotic flag waving, and stand up for the priorities that really we should be standing for in this city, in this state, in our region, in our country, in our world. Put people before planes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Smith. Mr. Simpson, followed by Jim Podrosky.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. I speak as a Burlington resident and voter. Managing an airport is inherently a risky business. Your recent decision to seek insurance clarification for airport accident liability demonstrates your awareness of this, if also your confusion on the issue. While you, the City Council members, individually and collectively, should certainly be protected against the consequences of prudent decisions you make in carrying out the city's business, however catastrophic those consequences may turn out to be. Insurance coverage alone is no license to undertake increased risk, nor to shift the cost of city policy from government to individual citizens, as the loss of property value to the educational budget for noise abatement or to individuals' health care costs. Clearly, leasing city property for use in military aircraft operations rather than simply commercial aircraft flights and general aviation adds to the risk for all users and neighbors of the airport. The Air Force admitted this in their recent explanation that any F-35As arriving in Burlington will be mature aircraft with a record of no crashes. Of course, what wasn't explained is that the stellar safety record for the F-35A has been built on restricting its operations to subsonic, without weapons, to daylight maneuvers with no risk of thunderstorms. Fear of lightning is something the F-35 has in common with my house cat. Thus, in a convoluted way, the Air Force has admitted that there is a crash risk associated with basing military aircraft at a civilian airport. Accordingly, taxpayers need to know just what the city will be paying to protect itself against such a risk. Citizens need to know what any airport insurance policy covers and what it doesn't cover. Will it compensate airport neighbors for depressed property values? Will it compensate children for demonstrable hearing loss?
Thank you, Mr. Simpson.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Joanne Hunt. I lived in Winooski for 15 years. I lived on Lakeview Terrace for 15 years. I've now lived on Leonard Street in Burlington for 15 years, 10 years. I've been a nurse and am now a nurse practitioner in Colchester, so I've been delivering healthcare to this community for 30 plus years. Many of my patients now in Colchester are from Winooski, and I'm speaking with my concerns about the potential impact of the F-35 on the health, particularly of children, also older people. Well, I know both sides have stated that they've cherry-picked different information from the impact statement. I think one of the things that is clear is we don't know the impact of the noise. There aren't studies that talk about it harming kids, but there also aren't studies saying it's completely clear. I guess mostly what I would ask you all to consider is to at least consider waiting for the first pass for basing it in Burlington. It just doesn't make sense to me to put it in a residential area. At this time, there have been a lot of issues with the F-35. I've heard from the Air Guard in the past several months it's been much better, but we don't really know what the next part of the testing is going to be. So I really encourage us to take the cautious approach and to not base them in Burlington this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hunt.
Hello, thank you. I'm Paul Fleckenstein. I live in the Old North End, and I'm a member of the Stop the F-35 Coalition. As you all are aware, the Air Force issued a preliminary basing decision last week in favor of basing the F-35 in Burlington. For us who have been involved with this issue for the past 2 years or more, this was no surprise. We knew that the Air Force said that political considerations are among the considerations that the basing will be based on. And in this case, we've seen that political considerations trumped all of the rest. The process gave little to no weight to the environmental consequences, to the human and economic consequences, and to the social consequences. In contrast, it is refreshing and encouraging to see so many of the city councilors take an active interest in this issue and show a willingness to confront and understand what the basing actually means. There is an urgency now to make this decision for the city of Burlington within the review period of the next 30 days. So again, I appreciate President Shannon, your commitment to making that happen by having a special meeting in October. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The F-35, let's see. First, it's such a boondoggle of a plane that the military said they didn't want it and didn't need it, but the hawks in Congress funded anyway as a multi-million-dollar gift to the defense contractors. But it is the crash statistics of new planes that we should be most concerned about. The reason new fighter planes are usually placed in Wyoming or someplace that really doesn't have residential areas for miles around is that they tend to fall out of the sky during the first few years. According to Pierre Sprague, who helped to design the F-16, which he characterizes as a much safer plane, the accident rate was 50 accidents per 100,000 flying hours of the F-16, the safer plane, approximately 20 times when it was first placed here in Burlington, which is approximately 20 times the accident rate it has today. I was a member of this city council when one rainy night a park gate was swinging loose and impaled a 20-year-old passenger in a car. There was an insurance settlement which hopefully paid for lifetime care for that young person who was in or close to a vegetative state. I don't think there was blame assigned, but everyone from the councilors and the city administration on down felt terrible. It was the worst night I had on the city council. Imagine how you would feel, how we all would feel, if an F-35 falls out of the sky and lands on a condo development in South Burlington, and how much it will cost. Burlington, Vermont, really? This is our airport and our decision, your decision. If we put it to a vote of the people of Burlington, I know you agree with me that a majority of Burlington residents would not want the F-35, and I know that you want to represent them. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Michael Mahoney. I am a Vietnam veteran, and I support the Vermont Air National Guard. I just am opposed to the F-35. What I'd like to do is read a couple paragraphs from an article in the Burlington Free Press dated January 17, 2013, written by Nicole Gaudiano, a Free Press Washington writer. And I would like to skip to the last two paragraphs of that article. This is an interview with Senator Leahy, and the theme of the article is about his photography. We all know that he is a great photographer, photographed people throughout the world. And I'd like to read these last two paragraphs. Leahy, who chairs the subcommittee that funds help for refugees, keeps a black and white photo on his desk of a man in an El Salvadorian refugee camp. The photo, which shows a man staring viewers right in the eye, speaks to Leahy. Quote, "I call that my conscience picture," he said. "He's looking at me as if to say, all right, if I was powerful and political and all, I could come in and talk to you. But what do you do about people like me who don't have a voice? Every time I tend to forget about those, I look at that picture." What's sad and disappointing about that photograph, or about that statement by Senator Leahy, is that his concern for this poor man in El Salvador doesn't really appear to carry over to many citizens in Vermont, people that he actually represents. Opponents of the F-35 have tried for over a year to discuss issues with him, but because of a difference of opinion, he doesn't seem to want to talk to us. Perhaps if we were a poor citizen in El Salvador, he would at least listen to our concerns. I've always wanted to ask Senator Leahy why 3 + 1 = 10 in the environmental section, but he doesn't seem to answer that. I want to thank the City Council for having the political fortitude to at least listen to people that don't really have much to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mahoney.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to all of you. I want to express my gratitude to you for taking very seriously the issues raised by the potential F-35 basing decision. I appreciate the importance of the insurance problem, and so I understand the need to resolve that. I'm very encouraged by Council President Shannon's comment that the Council is anxious to act on these resolutions. I respectfully ask that every effort be made to ensure that that meeting will be held and a vote will be taken within the 30-day waiting period before that's over, as this is really the last chance for public comment to the Air Force. I've heard people say that they believe that it won't matter what the Council says. I would submit to you that if that really is the case, if the voice of the Burlington City Council has no effect on our congressional delegation, or the Vermont Guard, or the Air Force, that the state of local politics is much worse than I thought. If it is the case that a resolution passed by the Burlington City Council would make no difference, then I believe it's especially important that you all voice your position on this in order to expose such a dismissal of your authority and such a disregard for your role as representatives of the local population. I look forward to the discussions of these resolutions in the weeks to come, and I thank you very much for taking it up.
Thank you, Ms. Kirby.